So you've seen me shoot a lot of drills before. Today I'm going to give you guys the framework for how I come up with them.
Okay, welcome back, guys. We're back at the range here. You've seen me shoot a lot of other people's drills, mostly drills that I found on Instagram or YouTube. So today I wanted to talk about how I set up drills and the framework that I use when I'm coming up with scenarios to train around. There's a lot of different factors that come into play. So a few of those factors are going to be the time you have to train, how much of the day you have to be out there, the space that you're working with, how much ammo you have is a big factor. So that's going to affect, how many shots you're going to be firing per drill. And a couple other things are going to come up throughout the video that we'll talk about. So the first thing to think about when you're coming up with a drill is to name the skill that you want to work on. So this will be things like, do I just want to work on speed? Do I just want to work on visual discipline? Do I want to work on my grip? Do I want to work on entering and exiting firing positions or shooting on the move? Or there's really an infinite amount of ways to address this situation. I'm just going to put them together off the cuff. We're going to see how well they work for what I'm trying to accomplish, and hopefully you guys can get something out of it. One big factor that's going to affect how your training goes and how you're able to set up your drills is how many targets do you have and what kind of targets do you have. I'm working with 3 paper target stands for USPSA targets and normally 2 steel targets, 2 A-zone steel targets. Right now I only have 1 because I shot the hanger on one of them and it's busted and I need to replace it. So I'm going to have maximum of 3 paper targets and 1 steel target. We want to name the skill, we want to isolate the variable, and you want to build a feedback loop. How do you know whether or not you completed the drill successfully or unsuccessfully? That's largely going to come down to shot timing and accuracy standard. So I'm working with a maximum of, let's say, 40 yards. Probably a little bit less in reality. Anyway, this first drill, so let's come up with it on the spot here. What's the first thing I want to work on? I think one thing I've been noticing in my footage is over-confirmation. So I'll be firing a few shots, bang, 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 and then I notice that my muzzle is still at that target even though I fired it, and then I wait a beat before I transition to the next target. So I'm going to keep it really simple for this first one. I'll probably just set up 2 paper targets at about 15-20 yards, and they're going to be spaced 3 to 6 feet apart. We're going to keep this one really simple at first, so I'm going to be stationary. There's not going to be any movement. There's not going to be reloads or anything like that. And I'm just going to hit pairs on each. We'll just start off there. So let's go set up those targets and get after it. Okay, so we got our 2 targets set up. I have a 15-yard line marked out here. I'm going to do it at a brisk pace, but not burning it until the wheels fall off. We'll run it once, see where I'm at, and then see about how far I can push it. This is going to be 4 rounds, 2 shots on each paper. That was 2.49 seconds. So those were all alphas. It's 2.26. Pretty much all A's. I got 1 C here. And all A's on the left target. That felt really good. 1.73. I got another C. So I might have been dragging off the target a little bit. But that's okay because the skill that we were isolating for that shot was our target transition. Okay, so that was the first set of drills. Real simple. Just set up 2 targets and worked on all the different micro skills within this single drill. That's a real basic version of what we're going to do. I'd like to complexify it a little bit. This one's going to have a reload and a transition of pistol in it. Still have these 2 targets over here, spaced the same. Didn't move the paper targets at all, but I added a steel target at about 30 yards. I'm going to hit 2 rounds on the steel target, reload the rifle, 2 more rounds on the steel target, transition to my pistol, 2 rounds, 2 rounds. Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to go bang, 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 reload, Bang, 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 bang. Being that this is a bit more complex drill, this isn't quite isolating one specific skill. I'm going to still have to transition my eyes to different targets. So we're still working on that same skill that we were working on in the previous drill. We're just adding a few more variables here. Okay, that was 1342. $14.04. So it slowed down a bit. I definitely felt some mag fumbling. This is something that just training in general is going to do for you, is it's going to tell you how your gear reacts. I have this habit of, when I transition to my pistol, I throw my rifle bolt side down, and that's also magazine release down. So sometimes my magazine release can be pressed on my gear. Something that I'm definitely going to have to address. I noticed a little bit of over confirmation. That's okay, as long as we noticed it. $12.66. Okay, so I knew I could get it under 13. Anyway, we'll leave the glasses on, and we're going to check the hits over here. So I think some of these are switching to the pistol and dragging onto the target. That's why I'm a little more biased to the right side. And a couple of losses in visual discipline for these two high flyers, probably watching the dot go up. And then probably overdriving a bit on this one. That's why I have kind of a pattern that sits across the horizontal plane. Cool, good data. Let's keep at it. So the next skill we're going to work on is going to be movement. Movement can mean a lot of things. It can be the way your feet are moving. It can be how you're moving while you're shooting. It could be your ability to gain velocity and then slow back down. I want to come up with a drill that's going to work on both shooting on the move and moving into position to shoot. Now, another thing when you're designing your own drills is to take things from other people that you've seen. I've seen Mike Pannone from, I think his company is CTT Solutions. He's talked about this drill where you stand at a 90-degree angle to the target on the sound of the shot timer. You turn to face the target and then backpedal at a 45-degree angle. Now, whichever direction you're facing when the drill starts will determine which angle you're going to move back at. So if the target's to my left, I'm going to turn and backpedal to my right. I have the same range layout as I did previously. Shot timer is going to go off. I'm going to turn towards the target, backpedal while addressing the two paper targets, and then after the final shot on the two paper targets that I'm shooting as I'm moving, I'm going to sprint back to a secondary firing position and shoot the steel target twice as I enter that position. Cool, that was fun. 7.95. Yeah, 2 Ds, 2 Cs. Whatever, let's keep it going. It was 8:02. .72, and honestly that felt like the most accurate one as well. .51. That's cool. So it keeps getting faster and the accuracy is getting better too, which is what we want. Now, if you have a ton of ammo, you could just run this drill 1,000 times. You could run this drill over and over, and you'll get to a place where you know exactly where your limit is. Unfortunately, for most of us, we don't have access to that much ammo or time. So, just going to switch to the pistol. We're going to start doing it with the pistol. Seven, 8. A's and C's. .98. So that's kind of my thought process that goes behind designing drills. You know, we all come out to the range and sometimes you set up your targets and you have no idea what you're going to do. And it's a good opportunity to flex that creative muscle in your brain and see what you can come up with. I think the important part about coming up with a drill is to make sure you know what skills you're working on. The way to get better is through isolating variables, in my opinion. It's hard to work on all the things that go into shooting all at once. So if you can find out 2 or 3 micro skills that you know you need to work on, you can design a drill around it, and after 4, 5, or 6 reps, you will have gotten just a little bit better at those specific skills. So that's all from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been really cool watching the channel grow. You guys have been awesome in the comments and just reaching out and watching the videos. It means a whole lot to me. If you guys are interested in supporting my channel, I have links in the description to my store. Everything in that store is made by me. All of that is very much appreciated. That's why I'm able to do this stuff. If you guys have any questions, I'm always open. I read all the comments. I might not be able to respond to every single one, but I'm always going to read all the comments. So get in there. Let me know what you guys think. Stick around. There's going to be another video next week, and we'll catch you in the next one.